And we're rolling.
Was that far away?
I think so.
We seem so small.
Welcome to Flirting with the Realities. My name is Enrique, and this is Carolee. And it's our podcast. We're fired up.
It's our podcast day.
Yeah, it's Thursday. So yeah, I guess I'm the Spanish Canadian, Enrique. Oh. So what's a happening?
Well, a lot was not happening the last few weeks. I was in the molly grubs with some sort of stomach thing. So I don't
COVID.
feel like a lot was happening for me, but I guess a lot has been happening.
You had COVID, brutal round 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this time it was like, did we have something? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's what COVID is this round. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what's been on my mind that we talked about is state of the world and where are we being directed? You know, like what's happening?
Yeah, kind of like what brought this on was when I was telling you literally that something can just become kind of popular on TikTok or Instagram, and then it's like everyone wants to buy it.
Yeah, so talking about like something that goes viral, kind of.
Yeah, like snail mucin or wild yam or whatever the case may be.
But we were talking about my friend, talking about my son, and my son said, "Hey, do you know what shrinkflation is?" And he said shrinkflation's when like you have a bag of Doritos and it's a 9-ounce bag of Doritos a year ago, and then all of a sudden now, because companies are like, dude, we can't raise the prices anymore, that 9-ounce bag is $5 last year, but this year instead of making it like a $6 bag, they make it an 8-ounce bag that's still $5. So they're reducing the quantity, but not increasing the price. Kind of like, I don't think they're trying to trick us. I think companies are
doing what they can.
Yeah, I think they're like, holy shit, like what's going on? We can't raise prices, and people aren't buying stuff, and they're trying to figure out a way around everything else. So I don't think they're doing anything.
No, I think that's just kind of smart. A good way to stay in business, to like be like, what can we do to keep things going?
Yeah. So my son tells me about that, and then like 10 minutes later, my friend sends me a reel on Instagram, and it tells you all about shrinkflation. So that's kind of how we started talking about that, is like how instantly we are all basically, in my opinion, we're all told what to think. That's the conclusion I've came to. And I don't know if it's true, and I shouldn't say a conclusion because I don't know, but that's where I'm leaning, is that we're all being told what to think.
For sure.
Well, and so let me just, I'm going to do this for free that everybody watches this. I'm not going to charge. Okay? It's all free. This is like some of the most mind-blowing thoughts you will ever hear in your life. But I have actually believe I have figured out who the man is. Like when people talk about the man, who is the man? Because everybody's always saying like the man's holding us down. The man is doing this. The man's doing that. And it's like, well, who is the man? Everybody always, well, who's the man? Is it the government? Is it like, who is it? And that's kind of where everybody gets stuck. They're like, whoa, actually, I don't know. I know. I figured it out. I know who the man is. The man, in simple terms, is everybody, is you and I. So the way this works, though, is that there's influence. So there's multiple people that influence. So some people say like George Soros, he's a mastermind. I think there's many, though. Maybe it's George Soros, maybe it's the U.S. government, maybe it's Bill Gates, maybe it's Elon Musk. I don't know, but there are people that definitely influence, and so this Instagram reel is a good example. Like all of a sudden, like Instagram could be in on it, right? So somebody's like, hey, we want to push this shrinkflation idea. We want everybody to believe in shrinkflation. And then let's say it's George Soros. George Soros says, I want everybody to believe in shrinkflation. Make me like 6 different videos. Get a hold of Instagram, since we paid those guys off, and make these 6 videos go viral. Make everybody watch them right now. And how possible is that right now?
Well, yeah, it's no different than that documentary we watched on that company that went around influencing
Yeah.
elections. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've seen movies on like how they influence juries.
Well, yeah, I mean, people
So, I mean, it's for sure, absolutely.
Well, so let me actually finish my thought though, is like, so they show these Instagram reels, and then that's who is the actual man. That's us, the man, because we decide what to believe in. We decide what to push. We decide what's real, what's not real. And I think that's been pretty easy to do until COVID, because they needed to push some really crazy stuff. But if you remember, what was it, COVID first, or was it the killer bee thing first? Do you remember the killer bee thing?
I think it was during COVID, the killer bee thing.
Was it, or was it before?
I think it was during, but
It might have been during. But if you think about it, so they're always trying to push this thing, and then we are the ones that take it and run with it. And the shrinkflation's a good example too, because how many people that watched the shrinkflation video and totally hook, line, and sinker on that thing actually did some research on it? I don't know. I don't know if a Doritos bag is smaller, or this is smaller, that's smaller. Very well could be. Maybe it's always been a size that's been available. Maybe it's a size that's available in Europe, but it's not available in the United States. You know, this and that. Nobody's doing research, but we all bought into it, and we all like, oh, shrinkflation. This, but that's the point. Is like we run with it and we decide if it's true or not. And so, I don't know if I'm skipping too far ahead, but I personally have been thinking a lot about. Well, you and I have been thinking about this stuff a lot, but we're thinking about what is real, right? It all comes back to episode number 1. If you haven't checked it out, it has audio, it has horrible audio, but it's about what is real. Like, what is
one of
real?
our best episodes.
Yeah,
It's really good.
yeah, but it's like, what is real, right? And so you and I have talked about what is real, and can be a scary question, because it's a powerful question. And half the problem with it is that there's no such thing as real, because real to one person is not real to another person.
It's true.
So that's all you need to know, that there is no such thing as real. You're making real up. There's no such thing. You decide what's real and what's not real. And when that's not the same for every single person in the world, then there's a good chance that's just not real in general. Or maybe it is, and everybody else is out of there. So anyway, but that's what you and I have talked about, is what is real and how do we exist in reality?
Yeah, and what is your reality, and can you make your own? And I think we've proven that you can.
Well, that's what we're talking about with meditation too, right? Like meditation, I think it's out there for me, but I believe in it. But I think for other people to think about meditation, like I guess manifesting is more what I'm thinking about. But you know, we're doing this meditation right now that's like, if you can imagine it, you can make it happen. And that's basically what he's talking about, right? It's like, what is reality? He's like, you can make whatever you want a reality. The only problem is believing in it. Like,
Yeah.
or if you believe in it, you can make it happen. And like for me, it's like, whoa, that's a crazy thought. But at the same time, I kind of believe in it, because a lot of my life I have made happen because I believed in it. And I just wasn't fearful, and I just went for some things. But anyway, you and I have talked about what is real and how do we stay in what we feel like is reality. And a lot of the conclusion we came to is you stay off social media and you don't watch news. Because if you look around, like if somebody's watching this or listening to this, you look around, actually turn this podcast off. Don't do it right now. When it's done, you turn this podcast off and you have nothing. You have no phone, you have no TV, no nothing. That's what's real. It's really around you, or maybe not. I don't know. But that is your reality, I guess I should say. That is, but if you
That's
open
what
up,
you're interpreting. Yeah.
yeah, it's what you're interpreting as reality. But if you open Facebook and Facebook's like, there's a riot 5 miles away, and you're like, oh my God, there might not even be, but you might be told that. And so now you're just going to believe it. And so there's this whole reality. And that's what we're talking about is like, you take on the world's reality right now. You're taking on like Israel, Ukraine, China. I mean, everybody's reality. Like you're soaking all that in, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to take in like you and maybe like 20 or 30 other people's realities, which is actually reality, I feel like. But right now, like all they have to do is flash something like in shrinkflation or the Isreal thing, and you're like, oh my God, like look what's happening. And you don't even know. You don't even know if that's real. That could be, I mean, you watch that movie 1984 and like propaganda. You could easily be fed propaganda.
For sure.
So I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. You got things to say? I don't want to make this the Eric show.
You don't?
No.
That surprises me.
Oh, how dare you. But I guess I've just been having a lot of thoughts. And the thing that's really triggered me lately is you and I haven't been on the news. We haven't been on like social media as far as like news. But the thing that's really triggered me is how many times I saw this Israel conflict, how many times I saw why you need to care. And it's like, why do you need to tell me to care about something? Shouldn't I just care about something that I care about? Like, were you not getting enough attention from the Israel thing that you need to get more attention? You know, and I think it's working because I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, why do I need to care? And then you're soaked into it. And now you're into it. And then this goes back to the man. You are the man, and whoever's influencing the Israel thing is like, yo, like, you're not caring enough. This is why you need to care. And you're like, okay, well, let me care. And now it's like, let's make a new COVID out of this thing, you know, which I don't think it'll make it to that level. But I mean, maybe we're just starting more wars up and they're just trying to get more people to care and start more wars. I don't know, but that's been my thought lately is how much of everything that's been going on for a long time now is to get you soaked into the metaverse that's not even real. And they can like, think about the shrinkflation thing. They can make up anything they want, and then they can have it become a common belief within probably, what do you think, an hour now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to think about when I showed you that video of Aaron Doty and how he has these DVDs that are from our government that are meditations and practices from like the 60s where they have figured out and they've documented that they know about manifesting and meditation. So this to me makes what you're thinking absolutely, this has been going on a long time. They figured out, I don't know if the TV was invented first and they started to like figure out a pattern, like we could use this as a tool. I don't know if they had someone invent the TV and to use it that way, but I absolutely think you're right that social media is influencing us and that people use it to influence us, and the TV is for sure another thing. I believe you're right that they want you in the universe, the metaverse. They want you there. They want you subdued, and I don't think they want you to know how powerful that you truly are. But what I don't understand is why.
Why they want you there?
Yeah, because could you imagine a world where people were prospering and understood their power and eating healthy and feeling good and being kind to each other?
Okay, but here's the problem: is the power. They want the power. They don't want bliss. Like everybody being happy, including yourself, isn't good, right? They want the power. And it's like we were watching the YouTube video on ancient Greece and Rome, and they were implying that Socrates and Plato and any great philosopher basically took off to this room and basically did like psychedelics and drugs, like mind opening things. And they didn't release that to the common folk because they were concerned about the common folk being as smart as them. So that's how they gained power.
Well, I believe religion is man-made to gain power.
Yeah. I mean, everything is. That's what I'm saying. And I think, like, if you go back to ancient Greece, Rome, the beginning of Catholicism, religion, even, it's all to make themselves better than everybody else in a way. But that's where I'm coming in, is I think that kind of went away to a point. And now instead of maybe saying that like Socrates took like LSD or something like that, I think now they work on making you dumb rather than making themselves smarter. So rather than, but I mean that they're also doing that too, right? Like mushrooms, LSD. There's a lot of like mind opening drugs that are illegal because they don't want you to go there. So there is still that happening, but there's so many people that are like, okay, I won't take mushrooms, okay, and they still do it. So you can't stop them. So it's easier to make people dumber, I think now. I think that's more the plan, and I think that's where you're headed with the metaverse and with consuming you with wars, consuming you with fear, consuming you with everything. Like that's what it is they're making you dumber and they're making you involved in, like, oh yeah, by the way, go work 60 hours a week, come
Yeah,
home so you can't pay attention to crap.
You're a slave. You're a
Yeah.
slave to consumerism. And it's
No, yeah.
it's insane that not many people see it. They just want
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, you and I are like, well, let's run this place. Let's make everybody happy and prosperous. And you know what? Even like, why don't you just be a little bit greedy? And why don't you just make like that? That's my thought, is like, why don't you make everybody prosperous, be a little bit greedy, and take whatever 10% of their pay. And because they make more money, you make more money. But it doesn't work that way for some reason. That's just
they
not how.
want. It's just like a never ending of what they want.
Yeah, it's greed. Like greed and evil cannot allow a person to succeed.
I think it's an addiction too. Like it's never enough.
Well, it's like this. This has always been my analogy: is if you're at a kid's party and there's a piñata, when that piñata breaks, it's not like, hey, let's just give to everybody and let everybody be happy. It's like, let's go, and you go.
I always hated that.
You go in there and you swarm and you throw elbows.
I wouldn't. I stayed away.
Yeah, but you're not a politician either.
Yeah.
So, but that's what you do, is that's when greed hits, is there's not all for one and one for all. It's all for none and one for all for one. All for none and all for one, whatever it is. All for one person. It's all greed. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. I think it's all about control, and it's all about, hey, look, everybody, look over here. Hey, 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 hey. Like, check it out. This is why you care about Israel. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look, 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 look. Oh yeah, by the way, there's UFOs and shit. Like, okay, like how much shit is going on where they're just trying to like reel you in and suck you in all the time? Like, do you have a real life? Do you ever stop getting on the TV or the phone and just look around for a minute? How many people are not just looking around anymore?
Well, it's pretty amazing to watch people be addicted to their phones.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
It's insane.
It is insane. But I mean that's because you can see them.
Yeah.
What do they look like when they're home, watching TV or on their phones then?
Well, it's just such a, like, what's his name said, RFK, it's toxic soup. I mean, you can't get away from it. The food that they're feeding you, I mean, you can't even trust the fruits and vegetables anymore.
Right.
So you're literally just fucked. Unless you have hydroponics or chickens.
Yeah. I went to donate blood today, and the kid that was helping me said they started a greenhouse. He's like, yeah, man, our greenhouse is pumping out vegetables year round right now. He's like, we started that during COVID. I'm like,
I think a lot of things like that happened during COVID.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you could do a greenhouse in Oregon, but it'd be interesting. But anyway, yeah, that's been a lot on my mind. Is a lot of how many people are just on their stuff. Like when I lived in Utah, it's probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I was in stop and go traffic, and I made it a point. I'm like, I'm going to count how many cars out of 10 are on their phones while they're driving, and it was like 10 out of 10. Everybody was on their phone between their legs, like surfing whatever they're doing, Instagram.
I used to get really upset about that. Like, it was a passion of mine that I had to let go, because it's kind of like being a clean freak. Why be upset all the time? Because it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
Why clean all the time?
But that always leads me into my there probably should be still an organization called MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Why are you guys picking on drunk drivers? Like, I'm not saying drunk driving is okay at all, but I'm just saying, why are you picking on the drinking and driving?
No, there's so much going on.
There is so many other distracted driving.
Makeup, eating, texting.
Kids in the back, dog on your lap.
Yeah.
How did that become acceptable? Where there's a dog that rides on your lap and it puts its feet on the door and it barks
or on the steering wheel.
On the steering wheel. It's like, okay, so we just don't drink. Just don't drink. Everything else, super cool. Yeah. Dip your French fries in a Frosty or whatever you're doing, and while your cheeseburger's on your lap.
Put your entire face on in the rearview mirror while you're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That always used to make me so mad. They used to pick on the drunk driving. So many other accidents are caused by so many other things, and we just turn a blind eye to them.
I did my communications presentation on texting and driving.
What did it say? There's way greater risk of accidents and stuff?
It was really, I presented this video of these gentlemen who actually got drunk and drove, and then text and drove, and it was just as dangerous.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How drunk do they get,
0.8.
Oh, just legal?
Yeah.
But same, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that was one test, but...
Yeah, but it's funny, and I think as society, we've all just kind of given up on the phones and driving. I think we're all like, yeah, it's what people do. They watch YouTube while they drive. And what are you going to do? Hey. Don't you feel like that it's all kind of gone that way? Like there's just we don't...
I don't know if it's because I don't pay attention to a lot of TV or news, or there could be campaigns out there for it that I don't know.
You know it's a weird one, and maybe I could be totally wrong on this one, but at one point everybody was like, you cannot talk on the phone and drive. That is dangerous. And so then everybody started getting headsets and stuff. And I always wondered, so the problem isn't that you're talking on the phone. The problem is that you're holding something to your ear. Is that what you guys are saying? Because you're still talking on the phone with a headset. So the whole problem the whole time was you going like this with something. So you can't drive down the road with something like this because, you know what I mean?
Still can't. It's illegal.
Do you know what I'm saying, though? I'm saying, so what was the problem with talking on the phone? Was it you holding something to your face, or was it that you were concentrating on a conversation with somebody else?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Good
do.
question.
I know. It's you're having a conversation with somebody else while you're supposed to be driving. But that's what I'm saying. It's so funny. It's not this, it's the conversation. And you're still having a conversation even though you put something in your ear. That's just what I think, but whatever. I always thought that was like an interesting thing that society decided, like, oh yeah, if you just put something in your ear instead of hold it up to your ear, then it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. But so anyway, so I was thinking about that's all we've been dealing with since 2020, right? Is things to capture your attention. Not only capture your attention, but it makes me wonder, is the whole point, everything that's going on, is the whole point to drive everybody crazy? Because that kind of seems like that's where we're going.
You think it's only been since 2020? I feel like this has been going on a long time.
What part?
I understand that maybe it got more intense during COVID, but I feel like all of this has been going on for a long time.
Like driving people crazy?
Yeah.
What, for example?
Like, I mean, the news has been an issue for a while. Pressing social media has been a situation for a while. Manipulating you through consumerism has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's been definitely increased as we saw, like, where did all the homeless come from? Just remember when we were in Seattle, and I mean, COVID definitely did like increase something, but I think it was already going on.
Well, that's what I was just thinking when you said all that is, I always told people way before COVID, I like, dude, you got to turn the news off. Because the news, it's not realistic. It's not realistic at all.
I've never watched the news.
People always thought I was crazy for saying that. But it's all kind of like everything was trying to get in position. Because I think you're right. It's like the news was doing this, and then there's these other things doing that. And like everything was trying to get nice and settled in. You know what I mean? And then, oh, we're settled in. Okay, showtime. Showtime, like, let's hit them hard. And I think you're right. Like, I think one example is like kidnapping. I could be totally wrong, and I've never checked statistics. It's just my thoughts in my head that say the same amount of kids are kidnapped today as in 1950. Maybe even less. I wouldn't be surprised if it's less. Somebody's going to get mad because they're going to look these statistics up and be like, you were wrong. And like I say, I might be wrong, but I'm just making a point. And my point is like, all of a sudden we have Amber Alerts. We don't let our kids play in the street. And you always hear, oh, I'm not letting my kids play in the streat because today is not like it used to be. Like, you get kidnapped and you get ran over and like you get shot. And I was like, well, do we? I mean, do you guys have the statistics for this? And that's what I'm saying. I don't think so. And if it is, they're probably like fudged a little bit to scare you. You know what I mean? Like, think about what was that serial killer? Was it Bundy? The serial killer guy that drove from like Washington to Utah, and I want to say Al Bundy. Definitely not Al Bundy. But anyway, that guy that like was a serial killer, like even Jeffrey Dahmer, like, do you think that you could get away with being a serial killer, like a serious serial killer like that today? Like, I feel like there'd be a webcam or something that saw you and you'd get busted on like dead person number 2. Like 30 people down the line, like, that's why I feel like back in the day it was way more dangerous, because there were these guys going to like malls and just like kidnapping girls in like parking lots and just doing whatever the fuck they want. And like John Wayne Gacy, I mean, how many little kids did he kill? Like, I just don't feel like that would happen today. So what's safer, today or in the past? But I bet you ask 99% of people and they're like, oh yeah, dude, it's crazy today. So you don't let your kid ride their bike in the neighborhood. And that's, I mean, you're a prisoner then. You're a prisoner in your own mind because you got scared. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember where I
I'm
was
not
going.
sure I'm
with
100% on board.
Well,
Like I know like here at this mall, a young girl was a guy tried to drag her out of the mall here. Like I think there are some things definitely still happen. I think there are neighborhoods that absolutely you can get shot at and that aren't safe. I've been to Chicago and very fucking rough neighborhoods that you wouldn't want your kids out there playing.
I'm not saying nobody gets kidnapped today. I'm just saying what is the rate of occurrence, especially because our populations are so big today. One out of 500 million get kidnapped or whatever. Like, what's the ratio today versus yesterday or the past? Yeah, there's people getting kidnapped today. There's people getting murdered today. But is it worse than it's ever been? Because I think that's what we're implying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is this because of Amber Alerts that made you think of that?
No, but it's the news. That's the problem. Is in 1970, how would you have known? You would have had to read the newspaper or watch the news
Yeah.
to know that girl got pulled out of the mall. Right now, it's like shrinkflation. 10 minutes later, you knew about that girl getting pulled out of the mall. You know what I mean? And like, you're going to know about every bad thing that happens within so many. Amber Alerts are like boom on everybody's phone. Holy shit, somebody just got kidnapped. Watch out for a white sedan with license plate number, yada, yada, yada. In 1970, that wasn't a thing. You didn't know. You didn't know. But today we're terrified. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, you're a prisoner in your own mind. Like when
I
you,
think I see what you're saying. I think I was misunderstanding you.
oh yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't happen today. I'm not saying you can't, like, listen, I don't want to go into Portland. Like, Portland's way crazier today than it was in the past. I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in general, in like urban USA, like, let's not even take the Portland area because yeah, that's a bad example. It probably is 1,000 times worse. Or even just say pre-COVID. Was Portland as bad as it was in 1970? I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, that's where I've been going, is like, how much of this is to freak you out? How much is it to keep you in a certain space? And the thing is, if you're freaked out and you're like, Israel, 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 like, you're constantly looking for updates. Like, what's Israel doing? Like, I need to learn more about. How many people are researching Israel for hours?
Remember, we got kind of caught up during COVID on like sharing, like I was sharing, like, take your vitamin D.
Oh, yeah.
Quercetin is good for you. I mean, you can even get wrapped up in some other angle.
Yeah.
Easily.
We were totally wrapped up in COVID. That's all we talked about, though. We would go to bed and talk about COVID. We'd wake up and talk about COVID. We'd go to the store and talk about COVID, because it was so hard to understand. But think about how much better you would have been off if you would have just turned everything off.
I mean, I think we did. We did eventually. We turned it all off because we started to realize what we were getting ourselves into. We completely shut off Facebook and it changed our lives.
But then we got back into it accidentally. Started watching like Tucker Carlson. And that's when I was like, damn, like, Tucker Carlson will get you as stirred up as CNN.
Yeah, but then we turned it off again.
We did.
We realized what was happening. Like, it was happening in reverse.
But that's the whole point, right? Is like, how much happier are we when we just mind our own?
Yeah.
That's the point, is like, you watch what everybody else is doing, like, man, you will drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer. I was telling Dad when I went and saw him the other day that he was talking about. I think he brought up Israel, and I was like, "Yeah, Dad, I don't know. I just stay in my own little world. Like, you know me. It's my self-help, my Alan Watts, my Aaron Doherty, my meditations. Like, I keep it rather like as positive as possible."
But I think that's the whole point I'm getting to, is I just said, like, if you pay attention to all of it, it will drive you crazy. That is my point.
Well,
I think they are hitting you so hard with so much crap. How many people are losing their minds right now? Like, and honestly, people are losing jobs. People are losing money. People can't handle the right. Can't handle the left. The left can't handle the right. The people in the middle can't handle either. Like, there's so much going on that people are. I feel like I'm looking around and people are literally losing their minds. Like, and I'm not saying that in an exaggerated tone. Like, I literally feel like I'm watching people losing their minds. They cannot mentally handle what's going on in life anymore. And
I think you're right.
well, I think that's why you need to pay. Why do you need to care about Israel? Here's why. Let's drive you a little more crazy. Like, but that's what I'm saying is, like, COVID freaked out the left, if you want to call it that. Hopefully everybody knows what I mean when I say that. COVID freaked them out because they were scared. They wanted everybody to wear a mask. Nobody'd wear a mask, and so there was a lot of going on. That's how you drove them crazy. But then the right got driven crazy because they were like, freedom. We don't want to have to do this.
Human rights, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff the right didn't want to do, and so it was perfect because it's like the left and the right are like, let's go at it. And then you added Black Lives Matter, you added defund the police, you added all these things that are so difficult for the brain to deal with.
Well, not only that, they were like instigating violence and like hate. And we were just united in 9/11, right? You'd never seen the country more together. Well, and then they divided us so quickly of women hate men.
Everybody hates everybody.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing that's all been invented.
Yeah.
Most of the time you'll go talk to a black person, they're like, what are you talking about? No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
I talked to so many black people that are like, dude, you cannot get around a Black Lives Matter rally. Like, those people are crazy. I was like, it's so weird to talk to like black people and like have black people be like, what is happening with Black Lives Matter? Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, this has nothing to do with me. I mean,
but how many black people fell into it too? They're like, yeah, fuck that, fuck the police, and it's like, well, anyway, it's all made up. It's all made up, and that's what they did, is to divide. So they separated everybody, and then, I mean, COVID was like, you got to stay at home. You can't watch sports.
That caused mental problems.
You can't leave the house.
Yeah.
You need to lose your business. It's all. That's what I'm saying. This is what's been on my mind. Is it's all designed to make every single person lose their mind. How do you prevent that from happening? You turn off the social media. You live in your own reality.
I think this also, bizarrely enough as it is, has to do with what we were talking about this morning, which you're responsible for where you're at.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because it's a hard pill to swallow, but I mean, you need to take control of yourself. You're responsible for where you're at. And there's no rescue squad here.
Well, that's a great question, though. That's a great question. So, say you're on board with what I'm saying, like, oh yeah, well, this is how they're driving us all crazy. They want us to lose our minds. People still won't be able. It's like an addiction. They won't be able to hang it up, even if they wholeheartedly agree, like, oh my God, these people are brainwashing me and causing me to have a mental breakdown. I wonder what's up with Isreal. It's like,
I mean, you've seen how you can get trapped into your phone.
Sure.
I can get trapped into my phone, but we have a mechanism that we can see that it's happening. So it's, you're fighting this devil thing that we've talked about. Go check out that episode. It's amazing.
Episode 2, I believe. Bad audio.
Because you're not only are you dealing with people who are trying to make you crazy, right? You have something that's a part of you that leads you in a direction that is not the best direction. The devil.
Yeah.
The ego. Whatever you want to call it. It's a battle. So I could see why it's difficult to get out of, but you're responsible for where you're at. And if you need a coach to get out of it, I can help you with that. What I do. But
I mean, it even goes back to like maybe what should be our next episode is determinism. Are you not able to pull yourself out because you're destined to be this thing that does this thing?
Well, I'm willing to have that episode with you if you're willing to, at the end of the episode, tell some people how they can get out of it.
What do you mean? There's no getting out of it.
Why can't they get out of it?
Because it's destiny, it's determinism.
No, out of this, what we're talking about today. We're talking about all this doom and gloom.
But this is my point, is when you tell somebody, you say, hey, you're being brainwashed and somebody's mentally messing with you to the point of breakdown, get out. And they cannot. They cannot, even if you give them the tips.
There is a percentage of people that can. You're talking,
well, maybe.
You're lumping everyone together, and there are people who can get out of it.
I agree, but it's the same thing we talk about with COVID, where we posted about take a vitamin D pill, and nobody listened. Nobody listened. Everybody's like, that's the problem. So that's what I was thinking about earlier, is that's the problem with you're telling me Aaron Doherty found these CDs of how to like manifest and make your life and do all this stuff. You know what, like what the man or whoever does to him? They go, okay, this guy's a little cuckoo. He thinks you can do whatever you want with your life. That's what happens. That's what happens to vitamin D. That's what happens to Aaron Doherty. That's what happens to Manifest.
2 million subscribers. What are you talking about?
I know, but I'm just saying, like in general, if you tell somebody how to get out of this situation, that's what happened during COVID. It's like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. This guy's crazy. That's what they do, is they flip it all. And so if I say, yeah, like, let's get out of this, turn off social media, then people will be like, okay, this guy, he's had a little too much to drink. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all that same, like, okay, wait.
Well, so I have a different paradigm than you. I believe that there are people out there who would love to get out of a situation that they didn't know they were in after they hear this, and would totally follow some direction. And even if it's one person that gets out of being driven crazy, that to me is worth giving them a little instruction.
Yeah, maybe not instruction, maybe.
Just a couple ideas.
Yeah. Just
because you don't like the word instruction.
Yeah, we're not instructing anybody. We're just like passing ideas and thoughts around.
Just what has worked for us.
Yeah. I mean, I've pretty much just like given it all up to everybody, though. Like, turn off social media. Get off your phone. Don't watch TV. Don't watch the news.
Move around and try to quit eating sugar.
Watch all of our podcasts, because I feel like everything we talk about relates to everything we've talked about. It's all like one giant picture, and like we're just finding pieces of the puzzle at each little time. I don't know. I feel like it's been heavy, because I feel like I said, I feel like I'm walking around and I feel like I'm looking at people, and people that I've known for a while are starting to say and think crazier things, and they're starting to, like, I feel like I'm watching them break down.
But I have another reality than you. I have a reality of like hundreds of people who have awakened a long time ago, and who are like talking the same way we are. I know that there are people out there that aren't crazy and that need direction and would happily listen and follow. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's just a never like, oh, let's just not even try.
Oh, I don't know about that. I was just saying, like, I think there's a lot of people that would agree with what we're saying, and then they're just like, they don't do anything about it.
I do too.
But yeah, there's some people like just bringing awareness, like saying, "Oh, like look at all this stuff. I think they might be making you crazy. Like, kind of pay attention. Like, maybe watch what you're doing." Like, awareness is like, I mean, it's helpful. I'm just saying it's, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff we talk about, people are just gonna be like, "So wait a minute, you manifest, and so you can make things." It's like it's so far out there for so many people.
The thing is I have a completely different paradigm. We're attracting people. Whoever's listening to us is attracted to what we're talking about for a reason.
Maybe, yeah. I'm just saying, like, this is what I said. Like, I can't tell you for how long I have told people you need to stop watching the news right now. I probably at least, I don't know, 20 years I've been saying this.
I think when you tell people, instruct them to do something,
I'm just, no, I was enlightening them. Really enlightening them.
When you said you need to quit watching the news right now.
Well, I didn't say that directly to them, but I'm just, maybe I did instruct, I don't know. But
they didn't listen to you.
Oh, it's not that they didn't listen to me. It's they were like, okie dokie, this
they think
guy.
You're a nut job.
Yeah. I mean, and then I'd usually follow that up with why my kids aren't vaccinated, just to sink it in a little bit.
I've changed some minds in my life, so I have some positivity there.
Well, and that's what I was trying to tell you. Like, the funny thing is, like, so I posted on Facebook, I posted our rainwater collection and like hydroponics and chickens and stuff. And it's so hilarious because when I did that rain collection, I did that in, was it 2020, maybe 2021? People are like, okie dokie, you're a little crazy, man. Like, calm down. Like a lot of these ideas that I've had, the news, rainwater, like whatever, like, trying to forage for like food, so crazy. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe this guy's not crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I do. I mean, I can remember a time when I used to hear that people would food or prep like for doomsday. And I was like, okay, whatever. And
yeah.
I mean, absolutely, I can kind of relate to that a bit. But I didn't think you were crazy when we were collecting water and stuff. But I could see why people might have in the past thought that, okay, whatever. But it's time to take a look at this shit now.
Oh, well, but no, if you don't, I think this is what we said on our last podcast. Like, I don't remember where we said it, but like we were talking about, our hydroponics is just creating lettuce now. And we're hoping for tomatoes and cucumbers and squash very soon. But we are planning, what did we take, 3 to 4 months to plan it? Maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't just too long.
Guessing. Let's say 3 months. That. 3 months to plan it. And then we actually started it in July. So August, September, October. So we're about 6 months in and we have lettuce. If you were like, damn, I'm hungry, I'm going to go get some PVC pipe and a pump and I'm going to make it. Hey, man, we'll see you in 6 months. And I hope things are good. I hope things are good in that 6 months, because if the thing is, people don't start until it's bad enough.
The thing
that's too late.
I hope that you'll take to heart if you're watching this is not only economically, but you need to start thinking about nutrition wise that our food that we have available to us is lacking nutrients.
Well, what's funny though is we've been doing this meditation about abundance, and I think it's actually working on me a little bit, because like I'm looking around and we've had this conversation lately about, like, we're not able to eat all the lettuce. Basically, like, we have too much lettuce. And then I was kind of like, I'm a little bit a little bit nervous when these. I mean, if you get like 4 or 5 tomatoes a day, like I don't know what's going to happen, you know. And then you got cucumbers, and then I was talking about like we could have 10 eggs a day, and so I'm like, we're in an abundance of food, and that has actually given me a peace of mind because I'm like, if everything hits the fan, I feel like I actually have some food.
Yeah.
You know, like it may not be tons of food, but I mean, we could eat lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, and eggs every day. And that's going to be way better than like go stand in line for your brick of cheese or
Whatever.
I don't know what the plan's going to be. Or, you know, like we said, a grocery store could run out of food in 10 hours if something hits the fan.
You have to think about what it was like during COVID. Like there were several times where the supplies were very like water. You couldn't get water for like just a year ago. You couldn't get any water at Walmart.
I still don't know if it's back.
So it is so easy that the supply chain could just completely be cut off.
But my point is even if we don't need it, it's giving me peace of mind, which is the opposite of breaking me down mentally and destroying me. Right. And so that's my point is like, okay, so I don't need hydroponics and I don't need chickens. I overreacted to all of it. But right now in this moment, I've given myself peace of mind.
I don't think regardless it's an overreaction. You have healthy, nutritious food in your life. We're about to get microgreens and have even more fucking abundant health in our lives. The meditation is working.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. It's fucking awesome.
But this is my thought I've had lately that I told you about is this time and place that we're in right now. There's a small amount of people that are on the lower end that are like dumb people that'll never make it, just what it is. And then there's a bunch of people on the top that are super abundant and like they're like have everything and like super conscious and like they're super good. And then there's most of us that are in the middle. And that's what I'm saying. In this time and place right now, you might not know this, but you're getting forced to move in a direction. That middle, you know, that 90% of people, you're either going to turn into those dumb people by doing this brainwashing, by doing this mental breakdown that's happening, or you're going to get pushed into this abundance. Like, you can't touch me. Like, I forage and I provide and I'm self-sufficient. But we're talking like 2% of that middle area is going to move up and the rest of them are just going to flush down the toilet. Right? Like you have to right now, you have to get your stuff together. You got to get not only like food in order, but food is also nutrition. Nutrition feeds your brain. You got to get all that in order. You got to get exercise in order. You got to get meditation in order. You've got to like bring yourself to a super high level to get through this, in my opinion.
It's empowering yourself. It's giving I think we watched this Wim Hof video the other day and I thought about it today. When you find a power within yourself, you have the ability to overcome almost anything. And that is what he did. His wife, I had no idea that she committed suicide the way she did, practically in front of him and his children, jumping out of a window. He was like so distraught, goes out into the woods and found his power. And that's what all these things are they're empowering. And I don't know, check us out. We're like,
yeah. But that's the thing, right? Is like, if you're empowered, they can't stop you.
They can't stop you. But
that's what we're going through right now is they're bringing everybody down and smashing them.
They are. I mean, if you disagree with that, just look around. The middle class is suffering in so many ways. Remember, what was that Budweiser thing where Ice Cube was like, they're trying to destroy the middle class?
Yeah, he's saying by the...
I have to pee so bad.
that trans person they put on the can and everybody banning Bud Light or whatever. he's saying you're not hurting Bud Light. Bud Light's so far beyond
Yeah.
the next person, whoever it's Coors or whoever it's beyond. He says the person you're hurting is the guy that's driving the truck to deliver the beer, the guy that's making the beer, the guy that's bottling the beer. That's who's getting beat up, is the middle guy. And that's, that middle guy, the guy that delivers beer to the store, he doesn't have a job now, so now he's going crazy.
Another thing that they even need to think about, though, is it's not too far off that AI will be able to drive trucks and take over some jobs, which why not, even with just knowing that, which is knowledge that is for sure going to happen. It's just a matter of how long. Why not prepare for that with empowering yourself with.
Well, but even that, think about like when AI was kind of getting rolling and you or I were like, AI, like, I mean, that's another example of like, well, AI is going to drive trucks. And it's like, you know what, maybe, but like, I'll figure it out when the moment comes. Like right now I've got to, it always breaks down to the present moment, right? Like,
Well,
right
yeah,
here,
you don't
right
have to
now.
think about that, but you sure can have
It's still present
food in
moment.
order.
Food's still present moment, though.
Yeah, but
Nutrition's
that's
still
all
present
I'm
moment.
talking about
I know,
is
I'm not disagreeing with you.
having food and exercising and meditating and empowering yourself.
Yeah. What are we sitting at? 56. That's about our time for a podcast. Yeah. So we've gotten quite a few more views now that we're on YouTube. Spotify is like, we still get like 1 or 2 views or listens or whatever on Spotify. So I'm glad we were forced to move over to YouTube. Nobody would ever listen to this if we were just on Spotify. So started up a Facebook page. If you're on there, thanks for joining up on there. I'll post this video and I'll post that on the page, this on the page. And if you guys want to have a conversation on the Facebook page, that'd be amazing. Like, I would love to talk about these things. You can tell me I'm crazy about the kidnapping thing. It's so much worse today, and there's a lot of killings. And check all of our facts, which none of them are facts.
I don't think we've given any facts.
you can yell at us or whatever.
We're opinion based.
Or you know what I mean?
We're not looking up facts at all.
Just get in the comments and be like, hey, yo, you know what else you can do? You can eat like sugar-free ice cream. Like, okay, whatever, up for tips, up for whatever you guys got. And hopefully that Facebook group's a good place to kind of talk about it, or the YouTube comments. Starting to get a couple YouTube comments too. So if you guys want to keep posting there, like, we reply.
Yeah, and like and subscribe. It helps us out a bit.
Yeah. If I think we're just trying to make it through these times, and we'd like to see other people make it through these times. Our opinions are a little bit out there sometimes, or they're not. I don't know.
But
check out episode 1.
Yeah, genuinely kind place. We really are here to help.
Yeah, episode 1 is making up your reality, and so we don't know if we're making it up or if we might be crazy. We could be totally crazy, or we could be genius.
Walking around on the streets in Seattle on drugs for all we know.
Don't know.
Don't know.
But anyway, let's call this one good. Like I say, I'll post it on Facebook. Hopefully I'll see some guys in there and comment and tell me what you think. And I enjoy chatting with some of the people I've known for a long time. And even if I don't know you, I'd like to get to know you. So, okay, goodbye.